Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Tyre podcast, the most unprofessional motorsports podcast you're going to find on the internet, with your two questionable hosts, Doots and
Scobbo, hello.
Perfect. How you doing today?
I am sound of mind.
Sound of mind. Very thoughtful. Very
I am I'm content.
Very how mindful of you today.
Yes.
Fair enough.
How are you doing?
Yeah, doing good. Really, be talking about the Spanish, or not even the Spanish
did
Grand
that
Prix, the
already.
Austrian Grand Prix.
We did that.
Yeah, we did that already. I am doing okay. Having
Clearly,
dealt with the heat, I've gone a little bit crazy.
yeah. I was about to say the heat that makes you old.
The heat that makes me forget which race we're talking about. But
Yes.
yeah, today we're going to be covering the Austrian Grand Prix, which has just gone past us. Pretty good on the whole.
Yes.
As races have been, one of the better ones this year.
Yeah, I think it's in contention for best so far, I would say.
Yeah,
We
it's
can get
definitely
into that
sharing
properly in a bit. But...
Yeah. It's struggling with some. So there's some problems. There's been some good, some bad, bit all over the place. But we'll talk about that in a bit. Before we get into that, just want to quickly say, if you enjoy listening to the podcast, please follow us either on YouTube or Spotify, wherever you listen to the podcast.
On both.
And then
on both.
Why not both?
You will do it on both.
Follow us on Instagram at the Tyre Podcast.
All three.
And also, we've got Twitter as well, but we kind of haven't been using that at the moment.
Do it on all four.
So, essentially, any support is needed. But Instagram is where we do a lot like posts and stuff at the moment.
Yeah, that's probably where we're most active. And if at all you want to message us, comment on anything, try and, give some input on what you've enjoyed about the podcast, any things you'd like us to talk about in future episodes, please drop us a message on Instagram. We are not a very big podcast, so we will see it. In fact, I will. I'm such a sort of needy human being that I will be awake in the late hours of the evening. I will see that notification. I will jump with joy.
Very fair enough. Now, before we get onto the actual Austrian Grand Prix, we've just got to go over some general Formula One news.
Yes,
that has happened, and let's start.
It's all really contract.
It's kind of one piece. It's a one kind of piece.
The one piece is real.
What's going on? Shut up. It's awful. But no, beside the only other thing I want to start with first is just that there's been some engine upgrades going on and lots of talk about the number of engine upgrades and how all that works and how teams have money for it and stuff like that. We're not going to go too much into that because not tons has been divulged. But we are going to talk about contract rumours. So there is a massive rumour that Nikola Solov, who's currently second in the F2 Championship standings, and has won 4 races this year already, 3 feature races and 1 sprint. And so I believe he has the most wins out of anyone this season. He's currently apparently been guaranteed a VCARB seat for 2027. And in the case that is real and true, he will be replacing Liam Lawson.
Yeah.
Now, I want to talk about the fact of, Lawson is currently, besides Gasly, he's currently best of the rest.
Yeah.
Of any of the drivers. And if you get rid of Gasly's podium and hand it back to Hadjar, if that gets overturned, Liam Lawson will probably be the highest scoring driver that's not from a top team.
Yeah, I wanted to get in on this a little bit because you've sort of hit the nail on the head there. Liam Lawson has really upped the ante. A lot of people have really been saying it online. They've been saying that being demoted was actually the best thing for his career because he's actually had a chance to sort of adjust. That pressure to perform has been taken off him, and you can see that he just feels more comfortable back at VCARB, and obviously the results speak for themselves. And, Arvid Lindblad is obviously someone that Red Bull are putting a lot of, they're investing a lot in because they see him as one of their future stars, one of their future main lineup drivers.
He's a fresh face, yeah. So it's a bit too early for them to be throwing someone who's
exactly
only had 1 year out the window. Yeah.
That's exactly what I was going to say, yeah. So it doesn't make sense for them to get rid of Lindblad, but also obviously right now, Lawson is the main point scorer in Haas,
Has
in Racing
V-Carb.
Bulls. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was reading
no,
something at the same time.
No, it's fine. It's just a little bit like peculiar, the discussion of why Lawson would be thrown out. I mean, I understand it wanting to bring up new talent, but I kind of feel like it's a problem with this grid. There's a bit of a tangent. I feel a lot of the one of the big problems with this grid is there's a lot of okay, like slightly, they're not old drivers, but they're not young anymore. They've been around for a bit and they're just fine, but it means that they're taking up spots that would be filled by other like younger drivers. And the problem is we're losing a bunch of talent to that. And like putting Solov in would be bringing that through, but getting rid of Lawson when there are some other drivers on the grid that have been there a while and are currently doing less, it would be a damn shame.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I feel like I mentioned Gasly, it's not, Liam Lawson is actually not doing too dissimilar to Gasly of having that drop down to the sister team after being promoted, and he's doing better.
Yeah. I think, that second seat at Red Bull, obviously, everyone sort of jokes about it being cursed, but, taking that seat is a task fit for seemingly no one, because just sort of since Sebastian Vettel came around, really, prior to that, it was a little bit more even. Obviously, you had drivers like DC and Christian Klein beforehand, but, once you had Seb and Mark Webber, you really did have the emergence of that clear number one, number two hierarchy in the team that Mercedes then adopted after Rosberg's departure. It's obviously similar to what Ferrari used to do back when they had Schumacher, but since that point, the second Red Bull seat, I believe if you look at the statistics, aside from here and there where you had people like Ricciardo come in, and obviously Perez doing well at the beginning of his tenure at Red Bull, the general trend of the points being scored in the second seat is sort of a slight degree downwards since then.
I mean, I think that it's definitely, it's much more since Verstappen's taken that Red Bull seat, or more since Ricciardo's left. It's gone from, because beforehand it was just a number one, number two driver. That's not an uncommon thing. You could say that about literally every team besides, I don't know, maybe McLaren. But since Ricciardo left, it's that there's been a chain of drivers that just haven't been up to snuff up until Perez had a pretty good couple of seasons. Yeah,
22-23 was really good for Perez. At least the beginning of 23.
I mean, even 21 was pretty good as well. I mean, he was the Mexican Minister of Defense, But
obviously 22-23 was when he was winning.
And in 23, back end of 23 into 24 was when it was on the downturn. And then both Lawson and Tsunoda going in, failing to take it. But since then, Hadjar has been okay.
Yeah.
He's had some rough races. And earlier in the season, it wasn't the most fantastic.
No, and he hasn't been helped with reliability stuff either, to be fair to him.
No, but it's last four results, it was 5 in Canada, 4 in Monaco, and 2 6s in Catalonia, and then this race. So he's not doing poorly, he's just not quite doing as well as Max, but that's to be expected. It's his second year.
Yeah, exactly. And I'd say he's doing pretty good. His form in qualifying is pretty okay. Nobody expects him to be beating Max, but look at qualifying for this race. He was only just a little bit over 0.2 off of Max, about 1/10 off of the two McLarens. He's got some good pace, and it's just unfortunately the limitations of that car and sort of still getting his head around things as a relatively young and sort of new driver to Formula One.
But we are kind of getting ahead of ourselves in the fact that if Hadjar should definitely stay, Lindblad they're not going to get rid of because it's too early. So Lawson would be the one that would have to go, which it would be such a shame to see him lost from the grid. He is performing well at the moment.
Yeah,
but also
he's a nice guy. He's always sort of quite chipper in the paddock. So
yeah, but it's also Solov is currently 2 points off the lead of the F2 Championship and is showing he's got pace. So would it, does he deserve to sit in the sidelines for a year and potentially? Who knows, maybe the next Red Bull Junior then starts outperforming, and then he's the next Liam Lawson.
True.
Like it's just such a tough one to balance, but it is only rumors. Other rumor, it's definitely less forward, less defined. But there have been talks with Haas about Ocon's replacement. It's an odd one with Ocon's seat, and most people kind of understand that he's probably not going to be racing next year.
We both believe that this is his last season.
And there's a lot of people that are talking about it, as much as Aya Komatsu says that's not the case. But apparently, both Yuki Tsunoda and Rafael Kamara have been in talks for the seat. Now, Tsunoda, it does make some amount of sense with Haas having like quite a large push from Toyota. And it's one thing from other motorsports, definitely MotoGP. Asian backed teams do often quite like having Asian drivers. It's just nature. It's the same as literally any team ever. I mean, Hulkenberg getting the Audi contract, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it's definitely, certainly with like MotoGP, there's an entire Honda team Asia for like some of the lower categories, which is just Asian riders.
Yeah.
But so it makes sense because there's financial backing, there's lucrative marketing opportunity for having a Japanese driver in a Japanese back team. And Rafael Kamara, because of the quite storied history with Haas and Ferrari, the fact that for the whole existence of Haas, they've taken their parts from Ferrari, they've used so much Ferrari.
Yeah.
Like that connection. It would make sense that if they're going to take on another driver, it would be another Ferrari Junior. And with Rafael Kamara being third in the F2 championship at the moment, and also the reigning F3 champion at the moment, it would make some decent amount of sense. And it's who I thought was going to take Ocon's seat.
Yeah. No,
but those are only talks.
Just to weigh in on what I think on those quickly before we move things along.
Yeah.
I really don't see Tsunoda. I think that's nothing more than a rumor because, like, you are completely correct with that whole sort of Asian-backed teams liking Asian drivers, but Tsunoda's connections are not with Toyota; they're with Honda. And a lot of people are talking about Tsunoda replacing Stroll, or if Alonso does end up retiring, obviously Alonso at Aston Martin. So
bold of you to assume that Stroll's ever going to be replaced.
Oh, I feel like they're going to have to do something drastic soon. But yeah,
they're going to develop an AI based around his mental patterns to drive that car once Stroll's dead.
But yeah, no, jokes aside, his affiliations, he's very strongly affiliated with Honda as well. So I don't see really any option of him going to Haas. Kamara, however, I really do quite strongly see, and I've actually seen some reports, like I don't remember where from, I can't say, but that Haas are going to wait until the Brazilian Grand Prix to announce Rafael Kamara, which obviously
that would make a lot of sense with him being a Brazilian driver.
Yeah, exactly that. So I guess only time will tell on those, but those are the talks on contracts, at least, that have come out lately.
I do think I just want to briefly mention, it would be very strange, though, if it was Kamara and Behrman, because then it is just two Ferrari Junior drivers. And the problem is then going to come in the fact of, like, Leclerc is theoretically locked into a contract until 2030.
Yeah.
And Hamilton's probably only going to go another couple of years max, in my opinion.
I don't see him doing more than one or two.
Yeah, I don't see him going. I think he'll retire. Personally, I think he'll retire next year.
Yeah, that's what I think.
But he could do it. I think if he wins the championship this year, he may do an extra or may just retire this year.
Yeah.
But you never know. But I think it would just be odd because then you've got the fight between Behrman and Kamara for who gets that seat. And I feel like, what would the point of bringing Behrman in and trying to get him experience if you're just going to replace him with Kamara? Or they might just leave Kamara there, who knows? We'll see.
That we shall.
But that's everything general news-wise. We kind of waffled on a bit longer than I expected.
That was a good talking point. Well done.
That was a
well done.
Good one, yeah. But now we move on to the actual Austrian GP, which was a good race.
Yeah.
so far. But first, we got to discuss qualifying, and the pole position for quali was George Russell,
Yes.
with second Charles Leclerc, third Lewis Hamilton, fourth Kimi Antonelli, and fifth Max Verstappen. Now, I do want to quickly first mention Q2, where Verstappen nearly got
nearly got
dropped.
eliminated. Crazy.
It was
I had my hands on my
basically-
head as I watched.
Yeah, put in a banker and thought he was safe. Ended up dropping down to 10th, and Pierre Gasly going 400ths of a second slower than him. It was so close to him being dropped out, and it would have definitely hampered how he did on
the race,
on the Sunday in the actual race. But what I also want to talk about is what happened in Q3, and for those who do not know or have been living under a rock, essentially Verstappen on final hot lap went and slammed into the wall, crashed. I dropped it at turn 8, but I could be wrong.
Yeah.
There aren't many corners around it, but it was final sector.
Yeah.
And what ended up happening was because of this, several drivers lifted off, because they assumed cars crashed, laps are going to be cancelled. George Russell powered on through because it was only a single waved yellow flag while Verstappen was crashed and while he was going past. And as such, that lap does not get cancelled, and it got him pole position.
He did, quote unquote, do a big lift. That's what he said about it.
He did lift. He just so happened in his lift to go 0.2 quicker than Charles Leclerc, who had the second quickest time. So what a pole lap it would have been if he'd properly put that.
Oh yeah.
But no, I want to hear your opinions on it, because the idea of it is a single waved yellow, not a double, so it's not instantly going to be cancelled. What are your thoughts?
It's an interesting one, because the whole point of the yellow is that's an on-track caution. You need to take caution through here. Whether or not it's for the sake of the racing or not, it is a safety thing. And at the end of the day, safety regulations are written in blood. If you don't take caution, if you don't slow down, especially when you're coming through the corner blind, because obviously that section on the track, the two corners beforehand, you can't even see the corner where Max has gone off. If you hear there's a yellow in the last sector, you slow down. So it's nowhere near the same. But obviously, I work as a marshal at a go-karting track, and the baseline is if something gone wrong on track, no matter whether you can see it or not, if the lights go yellow, you slow down, because that's exactly it. You can't see it. So he could have been in the middle of the track, and Russell would have only known about a corner before. So yeah, I really think that kind of thing needs to, from my personal opinion and from my very, very limited, what I guess qualifies as experience, I would like to see that kind of thing come down harder on in future, because obviously that is a genuine safety concern. Whether he was off the track or on it, George couldn't have seen that.
Yeah. So in this situation, do you think he should have been penalised and gotten the lap deleted?
I just think the lap should have been deleted. Fair is fair. Everyone else got the same treatment. It would be, everyone else actually did as they were supposed to.
It's very fair. I somewhat agree. I think that the difference between a single waved yellow and a double waved yellow is maybe
that distinction
is true. I think it's maybe a distinction that's not important for qualifying. I think the idea of a section of track where there is an active hazard should be a general, you have to ease off, and any quick laps going through there will be deleted. There should be maybe a set lap time or set sector time for going through that area, something like that. But so I don't think the lap should have really counted. But also, by all regulations, it is by the books. Like, there is nothing technically wrong with it.
No.
But I think it's a little cheeky that he managed to get away with it.
Yeah, I agree.
Now, onto the actual
the
main
race.
race.
The race on Sunday.
Yes. Race itself, won by George Russell.
Yep.
Somehow, it ended up getting
really
very close.
Really close at the end.
Well, close for like standard race kind of distances.
Yeah.
Then second place was Max Verstappen, who had a really good race out this weekend. Honestly, brilliant from him. P3, Kimi Antonelli rounding off the podium. Then Oscar Piastri in fourth, Hamilton in fifth, Isaac Hadjar sixth, Lando Norris in seventh. Eighth was for Leclerc, who, my God, awful. Then Liam Lawson, best of the rest, pulling in some more points as we discussed earlier. And then Arvid Lindblad in 10th, rounding off the top 10. Perfect. Now.
Yeah, so just to get things started, George Russell, that was a close run thing for a lot of the race. There were moments where I didn't think it was. I really did think, while watching the race yesterday, that at certain points, God, Max is going to win.
I genuinely had no idea how Russell managed to stay ahead.
Yeah.
Like, throughout that whole thing, he just kind of sat in front. It's not like he particularly ran away with it or anything.
No.
He didn't have phenomenal pace or anything like that.
Yeah, he was. I don't think there was ever a point where he was fastest man on track, just thinking about it.
Yeah, one of the things, actually, and probably the main thing, is just such weird strategies because of certain environmental challenges. The strategies from everyone was kind of weird, and so Russell managing to hold out front the whole time was kind of a bit of luck. I mean, by the end, like, I'm pretty sure after Verstappen came out of his last pit stop, he was like 12 seconds behind Russell, and Antonelli was like 8 seconds behind Max. And then that closed down to Verstappen being like a second and a half behind Russell, and Antonelli being like 0.3 behind Max or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, it ended up closing up massively.
It looked like it was almost going to be a drag race to the line between Antonelli and Verstappen.
Yeah, I mean, the Mercs just didn't actually... Well, Russell just didn't actually have that much pace flat out. It would just seem to be by... Not even by chance, by just, like, poor judgment on everyone else's... on most of the other team strategies that he managed to stay out. And, I mean, I guess some good timing from Merc, probably what I'd say. But it's also just... a really, really strange win, because I'm not sure if I feel like he deserves it in a way.
Yeah.
It's one of those where you kind of watch it and you're like, wouldn't say it's the worst win or like, he's stolen it and it needs to be stripped from him, but it feels like he should not have won that.
It feels like he got lucky. Yes,
because with the pace of, like, he did not have the best drive.
No.
In fact, I'm going to be honest, I don't think he was top 3 drivers this weekend.
And I agree.
Still won the race, which I think is kind of wild.
Yeah, it's yeah. No, I'm completely in agreement with you on that one. It just doesn't feel like it doesn't feel like the correct driver won. Obviously, you had Verstappen putting in a crazy performance in that Red Bull. You had Antonelli, fastest man on track. Piastri had a great late run. He came from P7 to P4. Towards the end of the race, he was over. That great overtake he got on Leclerc with a Hamilton right behind. Piastri was putting some serious moves on towards the end. It just I completely agree. George was not even top 3 driver for me on that one, personally.
No,
but much as you also said, like, that's not to say he's undeserving of the win or anything. No,
it's just to say that it's really strange to see that he ended up getting that win instead. But a lot of the strategy fumbles that were caused by teams, and one of them was particularly bad, so we'll talk about this now. But a lot of it was caused by temperature because the tires. There was so many issues and things going wrong because of how hot it was and how much of a strain that was putting on the cars.
I remember the first 5 laps, you had Lawson complaining that his car was on fire or something like that. The heat was really playing with was playing havoc on the field out there.
Yeah, I mean both the Cadillacs, like their cars overheated almost instantly.
It was Bottas's brakes, and then I don't remember what it was for Perez. It was something.
I don't know what it was for Perez. I think it was smoke in the cockpit.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was a power unit of some issue of some variety.
I'll quickly check for me.
But no, the heat was it was blazing down, and obviously that had an effect on tyres. Hamilton at the end of the race was actually saying how, he was telling his oh god, words escape me. His race engineer, he was telling him, I told you guys the degradation was going to be bad. So tyres were always a concern for people in this one. And obviously, Lando, I think at one point was meant to try go on a 1-stop, but it just wasn't possible with the temperature. So did you find out?
So it was brakes. It was brake failure, brakes. Just like with Bottas. So it was clearly just something wrong with the Cadillac in general.
Okay.
But the combination of the heat not letting the brakes cool down at all. Could definitely be added to that. I mean, I think I remember them talking in the live broadcast that the track temperature was around like 62 or something like that. Like it was ridiculous.
Jesus.
But the tire, there was lots of tire problems going on. Ferrari was struggling really bad from it.
Yeah, because Leclerc was having a dreadful time with the tires.
Well, that's the thing. They were fine on the softs and mediums.
Yeah,
they were woeful on the hards.
Were not. Yeah,
which was so strange. I don't know.
It was abysmal to watch because Leclerc was, he wasn't putting down anything crazy in the first stage. Obviously, he lost P2 quite early on.
Yeah.
But he was still holding pretty well. He was, within good pace. And then, literally, just as the tyre compounds got harder, from medium to hard onwards, like he just fell off and his pace completely dropped off. It was tragic.
Yeah, I mean, Hamilton is probably the better example of that, because while Leclerc didn't have... Like, he had a good lap in quali, but, didn't have very good race pace, whereas Hamilton was doing fantastically until they swapped over to those hards.
Yeah.
Like, he was absolutely putting in bits, and the battle that he had, both with Leclerc and then with Max... Incredible, and
then when he was nail biting when he was chasing down Piastri as well. I just wanted to quickly add.
Yeah.
Because he was lapping quicker.
Plenty of really good fights for a good chunk of time.
It was only until he put the hards on that he was losing again.
Yeah, he just started dropping, couldn't make up any places.
No.
He just fell back behind Piastri and Antonelli.
Yeah.
But, the heat definitely messed with it. And apparently I've got a friend who's went over to watch the Grand Prix. Apparently literally evening after the race happened, it started binning it down with rain.
Yeah, I mean there was rain on the radar towards the end of the race as well.
Yeah, but not even they were it's 10% chance of rain. This was like a full scale thunderstorm.
Wow.
That swept over the area afterwards. So definitely that temp has been taken out now. But no, very very hot over there, which caused a bit of chaos in the race.
I mean, you mentioned obviously Hamilton's on-track battles. The one with Max, absolute cinema.
Absolutely fantastic. What a battle. That's
brilliant.
That is proper bringing back 2021.
Yeah, I was about to say you put the poetry into it with the Hamilton and Max, those two former title rivals. They've always gone so hard at each other. And just watching them race, just, without the pressure of a championship, well, possibly for one of them at least, on the line, just that clean, fluid, ebb and flow of the racing. Really, really great to watch.
It was so clean, it was so tight, there was tiny bits of Like, it was right on the edge. You could see that there could have been scraps, there could have been collisions, but they're two of the best drivers.
I was about
on
to
the
say,
grid.
arguably the best drivers of their generations,
Yeah.
both like putting it down, with one another.
Like, probably the best driver of the 2010s and the best driver of the 2020s.
Yeah, exactly that.
Battling it out together cleanly in fantastic style. Like, it's amazing to watch.
It was amazing.
So upset. It also kind of reminds me of, while we're not getting performances from him now, it's not too dissimilar to some of the battles we were getting in 2022 between Hamilton's teammates.
Yeah.
When it was Verstappen and Leclerc, when it's that tight but clean racing where it's right on the edge, but none of the like wheel banging.
Yeah.
No, I'm going to drive you off at the corner kind of stuff that we've
it fair, keeping it clean.
Then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was really, really good to watch. And Hamilton was, definitely gets the point for best battles on track on the day.
For sure. I also want to talk about, because we haven't mentioned it, and we will talk about it more later, which is what I've thought about it. But what on earth happened with Antonelli's start?
Yeah.
He went, run to the first corner, went wide, came back on, then down at turn 3.
Second lap again, he did the same thing as well.
Yeah, he within the first 2 laps, he'd gone off at major corners 3 times.
Yeah.
And there was a split second of what on earth is going on? Like, he's completely losing his cool. But somehow managing to recover it and hold it in third.
He dialed it back in and started to put down some ridiculously good pace. I mean, obviously, we said, fastest man on track by the end.
He has had some terrifying pace, and I cannot imagine what that man is going to be like when he has more experience.
I was about to say, when he patches up his racecraft, that he's going to be unstoppable. If the car is under him, he's going to be just every single race.
It's absolutely insane. It's still wild to think that this is a 19-year-old, and he is going. He is leading the F1 championship and is driving like a maniac. He's got so much pace.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but this is the first time I believe within yours and my lifetimes that there is a championship leader in Formula 1 who is younger than us.
Yeah, I mean, it has to be.
It has to
because
be.
The only other ones that have been younger than us have been like Behrman and I think
all of last year's rookies. I'm pretty sure are younger than us.
Like most of last year's rookies. I think that's it.
Yeah,
but
still crazy to think. But yeah, no, you're right. You're right.
But it's definitely such a weird feeling looking at it. It's been like, this is a 19-year-old who absolutely has got better pace than several of these other experienced drivers in his second year.
It's horrifying, if anything.
It's scary of what's to come, because even though he's only finished third and he had an awful start to the race, he's easily the amount of pace, how easily he closed up gaps,
and it's week in, week out as well, no matter whether it's a circuit he's strong on or weak on. I mean, that was something we discussed last week with our predictions, which we'll come to later on, but we sort of said how last year Antonelli had a abysmal race, to be honest. But even on tracks that he's not performed well on before, he is still just putting down some ridiculous numbers on the timing sheet.
I mean, he's managed to score a Grand Slam.
Yeah.
Which is absolutely mental of how young he is.
But just to move along, obviously Antonelli had a bit of a rough start, but sort of locks it back in towards the end.
Yeah.
A driver who didn't have a dreadful start, but really fell off towards the end, sort of a tale of two opposites, I guess. Charles Leclerc, what happened to my man?
Leclerc has been such an odd one as of late, and this race is no different. In fact, it's possibly worse.
I think this is the biggest demonstration thus far.
This has got to be one of the weirdest displays where he had starting second, and all he did was drop back. He was okay on the mediums. Decided on mediums, was okay. but then started losing pace over time. You know, tyre wear, it's fine, it's reasonable.
And like we said, it happened to everyone with the heat on the tyres, you know.
It happens to everyone. And then all of a sudden, puts on the hards. He's dreadful.
Yeah.
He's dropping like a stone. He ends up getting overtaken at one point by Hadjar. No, I mean, I don't think Hadjar is doing particularly poorly, but he's probably, in my opinion, got to be the slowest of the top team drivers at the moment.
It is not exactly a difficult slot to give him.
Yeah. Though that being said, he was better this weekend than several of them.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I mean, he did better than Leclerc, and he also did better than Norris.
And Norris, I was about to say, yeah.
Because Norris was in a bit of a no-man's land position, and realistically, I think Norris... Like, Leclerc could have probably taken Norris, but that final pit stop that dropped him back, just put him too far.
Odds, yeah.
It put him too far behind. He ended up being
like 14 seconds off of Norris.
It was insane. He was from after that pit stop, he was 20 seconds behind Norris and then 20 seconds ahead of Lawson.
Yeah.
So he was in complete no man's land. And it's just I beginning to ask the question of, like, if he can't keep up the pace. It's not even like he was doing like Ferrari were doing bad. I mean, they were, but Hamilton still easily had the legs on him. So it's about how much longer can this really be excused before you start asking the question of, is it worth trying someone else in that seat instead of Leclerc?
I mean, I saw someone comment something that really hurt my heart. But obviously, Leclerc has kind of been nicknamed Il Predestinato, or the predestined / chosen one in English. And I saw someone call him the pedestrian, which that hurt quite a lot. Hurt my heart.
That is quite the shame, because he's been like such a big hope for Ferrari.
He has, and he's had those genuine glimmers. But then I saw another friend when talking about it. He likened him to Jean Alesi. You know, sort of like how he's always been a very good driver, and he has those amazing results at times. But you know, you look, he's just not championship material at this point in his career, at least. Which sucks to say, because he definitely is, as a driver, championship material. But right now, this year, you know, obviously he's not really in the running anyway, but even then his form wouldn't allow that right now.
Yeah, like it's the case that he's like, the Ferrari is potentially in the running. Like, if they manage to hold up some of the pace they've had the last couple of races, they potentially have the the ability to win a championship, especially with Hamilton at the moment.
Hamilton's
but
pace,
Leclerc just isn't matching him. He's the driver who has been at, like, I'm pretty sure from memory, this has got to be like his what? No, literally the race that's just gone has put him over Kimi Räikkönen, and he's now the second most tenured Ferrari driver.
I was about to say second most tenured after Schumacher.
But behind Schumacher, he has been there for 152 races. And he has 8 wins.
Yeah.
For his name. Räikkönen has more than that with Ferrari.
Yeah.
Like, it's insane.
It
what he's done.
It hurts.
Yeah, and it is such a shame. But there's only so... As much as, like, he is one of my favourite drivers, and I started, you know, following him because of how good he was in racecraft in the earlier stages. That 2019, 2020, even 2021 and 22, amazing. And there's been some, like, glimmers of hope throughout the last couple of years as well, but it's definitely, this year, it's dropping. I mean, 25 wasn't particularly impressive. It wasn't bad, but...
Yeah. It's
like,
just...
I'd say 24 was his last, like, properly great year.
I mean, obviously, breaking the Monaco curse, getting some decent results in. Last year, he was a bit, like, nowhere, and this year, it just seems to be a continuation / sort of aggravation of that.
Yeah. And I think the one saving grace he has is one, Ferrari really like him and just seem to keep wanting to give him a
And
contract.
the Tifosi really like him as well.
Yeah, and two, Behrman hasn't been doing particularly well enough to make it worth
Yeah, to threaten.
moving him up
Yeah, to
yet.
threaten his seat.
Yeah, yeah. It's possibly because the Haas isn't doing too great, but
No,
also I wouldn't say Behrman's been like out driving the Haas or
not in the
doing
same way he
leagues.
was in the first 4 rounds of the championship.
No, no, and he's not been driving leagues better than Ocon. Like he's been driving better, but I wouldn't say that he's consistently week in week out.
He
doing
was
better.
at one point, but
Yeah,
he
yeah.
isn't now.
It's kind of it keeps swapping between them.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just a shame to see. But hopefully he can pick it up later in the year with a couple of.
I mean, we're
couple of
both
best
Ferrari fans, and we both want to see him do well. We both love Charles Leclerc. He is among our favourite drivers, whether individually or collectively. So we do genuinely want to see him do better, and we hope that he will.
Yeah.
But aside from that, do you have any sort of last thoughts to put onto the Austrian Grand Prix? Give it a little bow to wrap it up with.
I don't really have anything that I can think of off the top of my head. Shout out to Bortoletto for getting his third P11 in a row.
Oh,
he got P11 in Monaco, Barcelona, and now at Austria. So at least he's consistent. I mean, actually, the lowest he has finished a race this year has been 13th, sprint or Grand Prix.
Oh, he's done all right then.
He's very middle of the pack. He's got like ninth, did not start, 13th, disqualified, 12th, 13th, 11th, and also another 13th of a sprint that I skipped by accident. But it's
the car that makes you the midfield.
Yeah, it's very similar. I think it was Behrman last year that had some similar run like that, where he went 11th for like a ton of races.
But with all that being said, I think that's everything to say about the Austrian Grand Prix.
Yeah,
and we'll come back to it a bit later when we discuss our predictions.
We've actually got to discuss our predictions now for the race.
Oh.
Yeah. For the race just gone, we've got to cover what we thought prediction-wise.
Okay, I thought we were going to do it at the end. Shows how much I know.
No, at the end we'll do setting the new predictions.
Oh, I see. We're doing something else. We're doing something
for Silverstone next week. Yeah, we're changing it up a little bit, maybe.
It would have been nice to have known beforehand.
It's fine, it makes no difference.
No, it doesn't. It's fine.
Now, predictions. So before each race, in the week's episode before, we put in who we are predicting for the race winner, the race binner, the flop of the tops, so the worst of the top team drivers, and then a wild card prediction, which is kind of something a little bit crazy, a little bit out there, or just something.
Yeah.
Now, who have you gone for your race winner?
So for race winner in Austria, I said George Russell would win, and he did. I used a lot of logic in my thinking last week, and it seems to have paid off.
Indeed. And I also went for George Russell to be my race winner.
Look at us
go. So we've both got a point for that.
Now, moving along though, who did you put for race binner?
I went for Pierre Gasly, and he finished P13, kind of nowhere, didn't really do much all race, didn't have fantastic pace besides that nearly great quali lap, but it's not bad enough to really consider a race binner, so I would say that I did not get the point.
I see. Yes, no, I agree. But for me, for Space Dinner, I put Alex Albon. And yeah, he had the Williams overall have just been having a rather... it's a bit low-hanging fruit, to be honest, but they just haven't been having a great run lately. And it's not been awful, but yeah, exactly. It's been pretty just meh. And,
I don't know. Yeah, I mean,
he
few sparks of greatness, but that's all.
He if it wasn't for his his Williams teammate not finishing the race, he was second to last out of the cars on track, only beaten there by an Aston Martin, which is to be expected more than anything else. But he ended up being over 2 laps down nearly, and it just, not a good result.
I mean,
He would have probably still been beaten by his teammate if his teammate hadn't retired. So
yeah, I mean, he was doing worse than his teammate in the race from memory, and
yeah,
he
exactly.
qualified worse than his teammate. So I think that's a fairly good metric for a flop.
Indeed. So who did you put for? Oh no, I already asked that. Who did you put for flop of the tops?
For flop of the tops, much to my dismay at the time, but my joy now, put Charles Leclerc.
Yes.
And while it is a shame to see him drop so low, he was the worst of the top drivers.
Yes.
In the race, and as such,
no denying
I get the
it.
point for that.
No, you do indeed. I went the other way. Once again, using logic, and this time not being so fruitful with it. I put Lewis Hamilton. For those who didn't watch last week, my thinking was along the lines of Hamilton has never particularly performed that well in Austria, so I wasn't expecting him to do amazingly. But he proved me. I mean, he didn't have a great race, like we said earlier, but he definitely proved me wrong. I can't count that as a flop of the tops for sure. So,
There was at least 2 other top drivers that were worse than him.
Exactly. So that's nil point there for me.
Yeah.
But
Perfect. Now on to the wildcard prediction, and I went for only one Mercedes finishes on the podium, and it went
both Mercedes.
Yeah, not great, considering that both Russell and Antonelli were P1 and P3 respectively. So that is a no point for me. And for you?
I put Fernando Alonso doesn't fucking DNF. And he didn't! He didn't DNF! He actually finished. He was 3 laps down, but he finished the race!
It's quite a shock. And his teammate DNF'd as well.
Yes!
Kind of wild.
That makes things quite interesting for our championship of predictions, because that is 3 out of 4 predictions correct for me, and only 2 out of 4 to you. So I have closed the gap a little bit. I'm only 1 point behind you now.
Indeed.
It's getting interesting at the midpoint. Near the midpoint.
It's tightened up to 9.5 to 8.5.
Indeed. So we'll see how we get there next week, and we'll be giving our predictions for that at the end of this episode. So stick around.
Yes. Now we've got to, now that we've covered the race, I think that's kind of everything. We have to go over the other series discussions, and we started off, as we usually do, with the NASCAR, if you want to take this one away.
Indeed. So I'm a big Cup Series fan, for those who don't know, and I'll always go over the NASCAR results in every week's episode. And this one, we had the Toyota/Save Mart 350 at Sonoma, one of the road courses where they actually turn right as well. And this was won by Shane van Gisbergen, the road course warrior. I mean, nobody expected anything different. And without any hijinks like we had last time, when we also expected SVG to win, he was able to just put it away for the most part. But there were some strong showings. Ryan Blaney was running pretty well at the midpoint of the race. So was Connor Zilic. And Ty Gibbs won Stage 1 and Stage 2. He stayed out on track on a sort of a different strategy to the rest of the leaders. And he still finished quite high up towards the end. And he even overtook Carl Larson, the reigning champion, in the standings after that race. So he had a pretty great result there, all told. But Chase Briscoe was the interesting one, because he made a really good run in Stage 3. He was chasing down SVG, who was starting to struggle on tyres a little bit at the end, but he unfortunately just ran out of time and laps to do so. But that's the end of the good stories. Now we get towards the not so good ones, and they actually happen for our towards the top of the championship order, because Tyler Reddick, who until that race was championship leader, had a pretty terrible time. He early on in Stage 1 suffered from a power steering issue, which brought him around. He still finished the race, but in dead last, 36th place. And his championship, contender, I guess, Denny Hamlin, who is now leading the standings, he isn't leading them by much, only 1 point. He got turned around in early into Stage 3 and dropped towards the back. Managed to make up a few places to finish, I think it was 25th, either 25th or 26th. But, he has now taken the championship lead. and I couldn't be happier as a Hamlin fan. But it's crazy for Reddick, considering only a month ago he had a pretty hefty 129-point lead, which has now been reduced to he is now behind by 1 point. And to blame for that are his recent form, as well as bad luck with reliability. It's not all been down to him. He was running all right this race, and he was running pretty damn good last race in San Diego as well, before once again suffering from issues. And that has contributed to this fall-off, considering that 3 out of the last 4 races, he has not finished higher than 25th. So, yeah, with 8 rounds to go until the playoffs begin, he's going to need to tighten things up, because he's got a hungry Denny Hamlin breathing down his neck. So it's getting quite interesting, quite entertaining. If you're not already a fan, please check it out, because you will become one. But over to you.
Very, very much fair. I am going to be covering the MotoGP, which this week was at Assen for the TT. And first off, I want to start with some contract stuff. So we've kind of known for a while. It's been massive in rumours, but it's finally starting to be confirmed. And Pedro Acosta has been confirmed to be moving to Ducati for next year and until 2028. And Marc Marquez is extending there until the same year, so that lineup is locked in. And Bagnaia, who was losing his seat because of Acosta's move, is now going to Aprilia to take Martin's seat, which there's massive contract issues with Martin that have already kind of been and gone. We knew he was leaving already, and it's another quite well-rumoured one that he's probably going to Yamaha. But Bagnaia is going to be taking his seat at Aprilia alongside Bezzecchi for, I think it's 4 years, like a 4-year contract, which is pretty good going for him. But now, onto the actual race weekend, and my God, was it good. It was so good. It was Trackhouse 1-2 in both the sprint and the Grand Prix, which is wild to see. Sprint won by Raul Fernandez, with the Aprilia bikes just having the best pace, but several small mistakes from Martin, seeming like he's losing his nerve a little bit during the sprint, allowing the track houses to dive through and take the top spot, with Fabio Di Giannantonio unable to stop a charging Ayagura to get second place, but Fernandez led out front, taking that top spot. But for the actual GP, it was won by Ayagura, which I'm so happy to see him finally get a win. Mm-hmm. He's just had so much pace this year and has proved that he can make that Aprilia bike work, and especially in late race pace. So good to see. Insanely fast crash from Bezzecchi at 10:15. I believe it was on lap 4 or 5. Essentially, he just low-sided it, slid out, and it launched him. Quite a scary one. But he ended up apparently just to make some bruises, which is great to see, but it does mean that he has now lost a bunch of points to Martin in the championship from not getting anything. Speaking of Martin, brilliant early pace, but the Trackhouse bikes closed up, and because of Agura's fantastic late race pace, he was able to get past Martin and get past Raul Fernandez to take that maiden win, with Fernandez finishing second to give the Trackhouse 1-2, and Martin still with decent pace on that Aprilia, holding it in third. Only other things, mechanical failure for Pedro Acosta, which he's going to be very happy to be moving over to the Ducati, considering just how many issues he's had on that KTM. And also, Digia having the weirdest combination of basically almost sending Marquez through the gravel and off his bike, getting a long lap penalty for it, which dropped him back behind Marquez, and then nearly doing the same thing again to overtake him a second time, which was very funny to watch. But he did it cleaner the second time, though, which is good.
That's bad, yeah.
But yeah, Jorge Martin has now taken the championship lead from Bezzecchi. And it's really tight up top, with Ayagura only 25 points away from Martin, and he's down in fourth. That could still all flip around so easily. So it is shaping up to be good, and next race we'll have to tell a bit more.
Interesting.
Now, next WRC, I didn't get to watch tons of this because I've been a bit busy. This was the Acropolis Rally Greece, which was won by Sébastien Ogier during his part-time season. I believe the rally was led by Nivelle for most of the weekend, basically. Thierry Nivelle was just holding really well. And then in the penultimate stage, he got 2 rear punctures for his car, and it dropped him back a minute behind Ogier. He still managed to stay ahead of third place, and so held on to second, but Takamoto Katsuta rounded out the podium, meaning that the top spot, Elvin Evans still holds it, but Katsuta's really close behind. Now, final bit, this isn't going to be talking about an actual race, but this is just some news for Formula E. And it is that the 2026 and 27 calendar has been revealed. I know the naming's a bit strange, but the way Formula E works is that it's pretty much all in one season, apart from like all in 1 year, apart from the first round, which is in like December of the previous year. So like the first round will be December this year, and then the rest of the season is going to be in 2027. And the new calendar has been announced with the longest season in the series history, with 21 different races, and new race locations at proper circuits. Rather than introducing more street circuits, they're going to Kota, Zandvoort, and Brands Hatch, which is replacing the XL street circuit for the London E-Prix. It's a bit of a shame because I did really like the XL street circuit. The indoor race was really interesting. And I've been there, and it's very cool, even if a bit peculiar, because, you know, there's something weird with the, like, going to see Formula E, because it doesn't smell like it should for a race. You know, you expect to smell like petrol or whatever, but you just don't get that until a car fucks up, and then you smell the burnt rubber, and you're like, okay, that's a bit more proper. But, It's a shame, and it's very different indoors. But I'm certain Brands Hatch will be a good venue. I can imagine of these circuits.
Is a fantastic track.
Brands Hatch is a great track, and I think for Formula E, it will work really. Like, it would work well for the Gen 3 Evo cars, which we're currently on, and with the new Gen 4 cars coming in, that could be fantastic.
Yeah.
Same with Zandvoort. Kota's always kind of a good track. I wouldn't say it's like particularly better or worse for Formula E. But Zandvoort in particular, I could see being really fucking good for Formula E.
Yeah.
The only mild shame is in this season, it's mainly the same tracks besides that, but they are keeping Sanya, which I don't like, because it's just really strange. And maybe with the Gen 4 cars, I said this last week, maybe with the Gen 4 cars it's a little bit better, but I can't imagine it's going to change too much.
Yeah.
The only other thing I'm going to mention is there is a new race format. As they don't have... While there are 21 races, they are not all at different tracks. They have a lot of double headers. And the way they're doing the double headers now is that the first race is called an E-Prix Unleashed, whereas the second one in the double header is called just an E-Prix. And while specific details haven't been finalised, I've tried to do a little bit of searching, and the only thing I can really find is that the pit boost, which they introduced for this season and last season, is only at the standard E-Prix, and the E-Prix Unleashed don't have that. They just have attack mode. But yeah, I believe that's everything.
Right, well that's
I think that's everything from. That's a lot of information about
it was
the other series.
We normally have a fair bit to talk about though, and all that leaves us to do is make our predictions for next week's race. Obviously, the British Grand Prix, one of the big ones.
It's gonna be good.
It's gonna be so good.
One of the big ones. It's gotta be like the second biggest probably of the year.
I think in terms of attendance as well, it's the biggest. It's like by
it's gotta
some
be
margin. It's like 510,000 people, I think it is. It's like max capacity.
Jesus.
Which is, I think, about 80,000 more than some of the other venues.
Yeah, we'll have to see how it goes.
Yeah.
But
Do you want to take the lead on this?
Yes, I shall.
All right.
So,
who is your race winner?
We're going to start with the race winner, and for me, I've gone Kimi Antonelli. I think he's going to bounce back from being a little bit robbed this weekend, being fastest in most of the practice sessions, and then basically fastest in quali without the final lap being robbed. So I think this race he's just going to get pole, get cleanly away, and I don't think he's going to be too done in by the rain. You never know. Yeah. There's always a chance, and with him being quite, a little bit, fresh and not as well experienced at this track, I feel like he'll still have it. The other thing is, rain clearly doesn't affect him too much. Do you remember that fantastic outside overtake at Spa?
Yeah.
That he did in F2, but that was very different cars, so we shall have to see. Who have you gone for your race winner?
I have gone for the race winner, who will be Lewis Hamilton, to take his 10th British Grand Prix victory at Silverstone. Now, I really see Hamilton win. It's just the pace lately, and then, Hamilton's skill around that track. Even when he's in a car that's not the fastest, I mean, you think 2024 when he won in the Mercedes, which was still a good car then, but it was still not the fastest car. That was comfortably the McLaren. He performs well. He keeps it cool. He knows how to please the home crowd. I think he's going to take it.
Yeah, that's very fair. I mean, I do think he's going to be one of the contenders easily.
Yeah.
Now, race binner. I have gone for one of the Brits. I've gone for Ollie Behrman. I just think, we were saying earlier how we don't think Behrman's been doing particularly great recently. I think it's going to go quite poorly this weekend. Whether it's just low finishing position or like a crash, not quite sure, but I just don't think he's going to have a particularly good race.
Yeah.
If I were to take a guess, though, it would be like an off during the rain, something like that.
Yeah, no, I nearly put Behrman for mine, because I was just thinking the pressure of like home Grand Prix, trying to do well in an okay car, I don't
know how he did last year. I want to quickly check.
But no,
while you read yours out.
My race binner, I'm going back to back with Alex Albon again this week. Just the continued form of the Williams, the general fall off, and then obviously continuing on, the trend suggests. I just think Carlos Sainz is going to beat him, and he's going to find himself right at the back as well, beaten only in terms of being last place by the Cadillacs and the Aston Martins, as they normally tend to line up. So that's me. But do you want to say the next one together, because we've both gone for the same on flop of the tops?
Yeah, we can in a moment. I just want to quickly say, I checked, Behrman finished 11th last year.
Maybe that was during his run of P11s.
Yeah, I think it was. But the other thing is, it's sprint this weekend, so people will get even less practice.
Oh yeah, true. But no, our flop of the tops
is 3, 2, 1. Hadjar.
Yes. Now, this is kind of based on the race just gone. Isaac Hadjar is doing pretty good. We're not saying he's not, but out of the top 4 teams, out of the 8 drivers, he is currently the lowest in the standings, I'm pretty sure, and the one who is not performing the best. The Red Bull is obviously not, out of the 4, it's probably the slowest, but that still doesn't mean, one driver's got to be last place, and that is currently Isaac Hadjar.
My thoughts are simply more just I think the McLarens are going to be okay around here because they have been the past couple of years.
Yeah.
Max is going to be good because it's Max. It was really a toss-up for me between Hadjar and Leclerc, but I felt like I did Leclerc last week. I kind of, as a little bit of hope that he does not bin it again.
Yeah, I really hope.
Want to go for someone else, and unfortunately Hadjar just happened to be the other top team driver that I thought would be bottom of the pile.
But
just by shit, I don't think he's going to do horrendously.
No, neither.
He will do worse than everyone else.
That's exactly what I was saying. Just out of the current top team drivers, he is not the one performing best. Whether the car or not is, that's just it. But yeah, do you want to round us out with the wild cards? What have you gone for?
I have gone for both Aston Martins actually finished the race.
Whoa, not happening.
So I'm
Tall
going
order.
on I'm going doubling down on what
That's a
you did
wild
last
card.
week. It's a wild card, but at Silverstone, where it's going to be, it's their home turf.
Yeah,
Technically, they got the factory there,
they're a British
and
team.
then
They've got a factory there. You know.
it's also, if it's going to rain, that's the one time that Stroll is going to be okay. So there's like a slight, there is a chance. It's a low chance, but there is a chance.
We take it. We take it.
And
Now,
now for you.
my wild card prediction is that at the British Grand Prix, there will be 2 British drivers on the podium. Whatever the lineup may be, I'm not making any specific, suggestions of who it'll be. But whether it's Hamilton and Norris, Norris and Russell, fucking Lindblad and
Behrman.
Behrman, whatever you want to say, I think there's going to be 2 British drivers on the podium. Whether they're first or second, or first or third, or second or third, whatever combination of drivers or positions, 2 British drivers will finish on the podium in Britain.
Yeah, no, fair enough.
So,
And
yes.
that's everything. That's all we've got for this week.
Yes.
Been a good race on the whole. Final thoughts?
I think
the
this is
Austrian
this
Grand
is
Prix?
this is easily top 3 races of the season so far for me. It
It's
got a
gotta
little
be up
bit
there.
it got a little bit quiet towards the end, but then also that sort of chasing down with Max and Kimi, and then also Oscar and Lewis further back. It did still pick up a little bit towards the end, so I really enjoyed it, and it was quite close at the end. I really had that nail biting moment. So yeah, good race, top 3 easily.
Yeah. I'd probably agree. I'd say it's been a good race on the whole. One of the better of the season, and some decently close. It's kind of mixed things around because we were expecting it to be like a battle between the Mercs and McLaren, more likely, or the Mercs and Ferrari, but kind of having Max in the mix and Hadjar actually doing all right.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. Pretty good for switching things up. So looking forward to the British Grand Prix. It'd be good. Silverstone, I think, always delivers pretty much. There's very few Silverstones I can remember in recent memory that are actively bad.
Yeah. No, you're right.
So I think it's going to be a good time.
Yeah.
Looking
So
forward to it.
I mean, I have nothing else to say other than
Now
thank you
that-
for watching. Thank you for listening, sorry. Thank you for lending your ears to us if you've gotten this far. And please be sure, like we said earlier, to follow/subscribe on any and all platforms, as well as, obviously, on our social media.
Indeed. And with that, I think if that's all we've got to say, then it's goodbye from me.
And it is goodbye from me.